All right, for my random miscellaneous this time around, I don't know a lot about Kyle, but I know one thing. Apparently, Kyle is famous, and the game's been complete and is now fully released. At least it was a while ago. I didn't have a Rumble channel until recently, and I figured, well, Rachel Plays said, this game's amazing! So why not give Kyle is famous, and when it's over. At 10-1, maybe I'll find a way to have some anarchy here. But let's find out.
Kyle woke up. He is famous.
Dad, a narrator!
Kyle is host of the most popular talk show in recent memory, Stay Up Late.
They got a narrator!
Kyle woke up, that's why he's famous.
Kyle woke up, that's why he's famous.
What?
Stay Up Late with Kyle has grown in popularity quickly in the last year, and the public has noticed.
Okay, here, I fixed my mic. Got my arm a little better adjusted too. Alright, let's get back to Kyle's famous apparently, because he woke up.
Inside has called Kyle a most excellent dumpy white man.
Yeah, I'm having a bit of trouble hearing this. Kyle is famous. There.
Top Tech noted that Kyle is inspiring youth to explore STEM fields.
Alright.
Most other talk shows are dedicated to discussing Kyle and his personal details.
Yeah, because he woke up, apparently. That's why he's famous. And everybody, it's because of the fact he woke up.
Most online videos are best of clips taken from Kyle's latest broadcast. The eye of the world is upon Kyle.
Everybody's watching Kyle wake up.
Tonight is Kyle's most important guest interview yet.
Oh, he's got a guest even?
Stay Up Late with Kyle will be featuring Rachel May. She is a kind and lovely philanthropist.
Ah, it's a philanthropist. Is going to be his guest, apparently. On the Kyle Woke Up talk show.
She is dear to the hearts of many. This interview requires preparation. Kyle cracked his eyes open, knowing today is his last chance to prepare for the interview.
Oh, okay, so apparently, alright, so according to this, okay, Kyle wakes up. He's got one day to prepare for the interview, and he ain't been preparing for the rest of the, before this day, apparently, in this game's base time span. Okay.
Kyle has 30 hours left.
Oh, so it's 30 hours. He's got to get ready for this interview. He must choose his actions wisely. Okay. Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely. So I could have him wither away or exit the bed. Get up. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom. Open the closet, scavenge, sit at desk. Gotta open the closet. Kyle opened the closet. It was dark and he could only really see his hanging shirts. So let me get this straight. He's got nothing on, I think. But I'm going to choose an outfit.
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important
This has got voiceover. Wait a minute. Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is. I'm definitely... I ain't even reading the rest of them. I'm taking the skunk pasties. I've got to take the skunk
Kyle
pasties.
chose the pasties made out of mashed skunk flesh.
Wait a minute. The outfit is made out of skunk... The outfit's made out of skunk flesh.
He's gonna be a real stinker.
I'm in how many seconds? And I've already done something completely.
Get the slimy garments to stay proved difficult, so Kyle opted to stick them to his body with hot glue.
Wait, he glued. Okay, let me get it straight. He opened the closet. He found an outfit made out of skunk flesh. The slimy garments wouldn't stay, so he glued them to himself with hot glue. This game's amazing. Okay. Alright. I haven't even left the bedroom yet. Okay. Alright. He's got an outfit. I'm going to go to the hallway now. I got to get out of the room before it's... Wait. Okay, Kyle walked into the small hallway that connected the rooms of his apartment together. I know this is going to be crazy. I'm going to check the locked door.
Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside.
Okay, so he goes to the door, and the door is locked from the inside. How would a room have the door locked from the inside when nobody's in there? Force the door with forehead. Yes, I'm doing it.
Kyle decided it would be best to try to force the door open with use of his face.
It's not even his forehead, it's his face. He's trying to force the door open with his face. What's this? Oh, pasties.
After smashing his features into solid wood for several minutes, Kyle
Wait.
gained severe short-term amnesia.
So, it wasn't enough for him to try once with his face. He tried to force the door open for several minutes with his face. I do not regret picking this for today, for this video. Okay. I'm having to go back to the hallway. I was so tempted to do that again. But I'm going to have him go to the kitchen now. He's got 18 hours left. Okay. I had to go to the kitchen. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen. Open the fridge.
Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Eat crust on the fridge wall. Prepare for breakfast. Eat the... I gotta have him eat the fridge. I gotta have him eat the fridge. This is going to be insane.
Kyle pointed his neck directly upwards and hoisted the fridge on top of his face.
He's going to eat the fridge.
Somehow, miraculously, he wrapped his mouth around the device. He started to swallow. In one slow, horrible movement, the fridge slid down Kyle's throat.
He's in one slow, horrible movement.
After many gurgles, pops, and snaps, Kyle felt relatively sure the fridge would not come back out.
He ate the fridge. I better get out of the kitchen. This is getting out of hand. Alright. Leave apartment. Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around. What's this? Okay, so far he's got the statuses of pasties, amnesia, and bad food. This is definitely getting out of hand. Alright, okay, pondering. Visit the tech store. Kyle walked into the clean white tech store. He was greeted by Techno Jim, an elaborate cutout mascot, playing soft music from a small microphone. Microphones captures audio. How would soft music be coming from a microphone? Well, he's got amnesia. I'm going to steal Techno Jim.
Quickly, before the attendant could acknowledge him, Kyle grabbed Techno Jim by the shoulders. Finding that Techno Jim's cardboard feet were bolted to the ground, Kyle started to heave upwards. After several tugs, Techno Jim broke free, leaving one foot and one leg behind. Kyle glanced at the attendant, who was staring, bewildered, and ran outside.
I couldn't imagine that attendant was thinking. Kyle took Techno Jim off the ground with 1 foot and a leg behind. behind. Oh man. I gotta pause this. I'll be right back. Laughing too hard. Alright. Okay, now. Kyle, when I said who was staring, I couldn't imagine that. It was like, wait a minute. Did Kyle just walk up here and take Techno Jim, our mascot, for entering his place? Yes, he did. Alright, so far he's wearing skunk pasty. He's got amnesia. He ate the fridge. And he stole Techno Jim. He's got 5 hours left. Oh, this is getting out of hand. Alright, Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long pondering look around him. Alright. Okay. He's got 4 hours left. I gotta have him return to the apartment. Okay. 3 hours left. Alright. Alright. I'm gonna go to the kitchen.
No. Yeah.
Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen, checked the pantry.
Kyle wanted to access the pantry, but found it was locked with a small keyhole.
So he can't open the pantry. He needs a key for the pantry. I know what I'm doing on the next playthrough. I'm gonna hit return. Alright, showtime. Showtime. He ate a fridge. He's wearing skunk pastry. He's got no chip. Oh, this is gonna be insane.
Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity.
This is gonna...
As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled.
Okay, approach Rachel.
Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here.
Okay, so I can either hit more or have him interview. I'm gonna have him interview Techno Jim instead, or click more. Now I want Techno Jim just kind of be like there, or have him. No, I'm having him interview Techno Jim.
Kyle roughly shoved Rachel out of her seat and placed Techno Jim in her stead.
Wait a minute. He shoved Rachel out of the way.
Hello, Techno Jim, said Kyle. I'm going to interview you today.
But I thought he had amnesia.
Kyle grasped Techno Jim's hand and tried to shake it, but instead tore it off the cardboard frame. Kyle's producer, sensing viral media, pulled the bewildered Rachel out of frame and motioned the crew to go live.
So, let me get this straight. Kyle is wearing skunk pasties, trying to interview the Techno Jim cardboard cutout, and they're going live.
Cameramen moved, lights flashed, and suddenly the studio was on air. Hi, I'm Kyle, said Kyle, and tonight I'm going to interview a very special guest. He pointed at Techno Jim using the dismembered arm. Techno Jim started to smoke from the heat of the lights. Would you like to introduce yourself? Asked Kyle.
This is amazing.
Techno Jim would probably not speak. Kyle took it upon himself to be his voice as well.
Oh, wait. So he's going to voice both of them.
Hi, Kyle, he said, raising the pitch of his voice. My name is Rachel May, and I'm a very special guest.
I think amnesia.
Rachel's expression of confusion turned to shock. Well, Rachel, you look way too thin and absolutely terrible, and you should feel ugly. Kyle gave Jim a meaningful stare.
So, wait. I thought the producer pulled Rachel out of frame, And Kyle put, I don't care, this is hilarious.
Wow, Kyle, he said. I sure wish I could look like you. Techno Jim burst into flames.
Oh, great, now it's a fire.
Instantaneously, the sprinkler system initiated. Curtains of water poured down from the rafters.
Yeah, this is getting out of hand.
Within seconds, the production equipment was doused in water. The set was soon abuzz with electrical fires.
Oh, this is getting even worse.
Kyle's crew abandoned their posts as cameramen and sound mixers to try to put the fires out. As the crew scrambled around, the cameras continued to run. Kyle sat, motionless, staring forward. Eventually, the fires were all put out. Kyle's producer shut off the broadcast, leaving Kyle's vacant stare as the final frame. Kyle's ratings skyrocketed.
Wait, so his ratings went up?
Techno Jim became a staple on the show, often ending up destroyed by the end of each episode. Although Rachel did not come back on the show, her cardboard portrayal did. Rachel was very popular.
So, Rachel wouldn't return. They got a cardboard cutout in her place as Rachel. Okay. Okay, Kyle interviewed Rachel. Okay. Let's restart this. I'm gonna exit the bed. And I'm not having... I will have him open the closet. And choose an outfit.
Kyle
Okay.
decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
Yes, I'm having to wear the suit of armor.
Kyle was unsure of what exactly caused him to decide to wear his armor, but it felt like the right thing to do. After much squeezing and sweating, Kyle managed to wrap the metal suit around his dumpy self.
Wait a minute. So the suit of armor is too small for him? It's even more funny. Alright, set the desk. Check the drawer. The sword change in a small key. I'm having to take the small key.
Kyle grabbed the small key he kept in his desk.
I don't know where this is going to go. This is going to be good, though. Kyle grabbed the small... Okay, good. Alright, back to desk. Alright, back to the room. Okay. Alright, I'm going to go downstairs in the hallway. Go to the kitchen. I'm thinking the key's for the pantry.
Kyle wanted to access the
Yes!
pantry, but found it was locked with a small keyhole.
Alright, now you're going to unlock... Alright, unlock this. This is going to get good.
The pantry door lock creaked as if it hadn't moved for years, but eventually opened.
Look at the pantry.
Instead of an assortment of canned goods and grains, Kyle's pantry stored his massive amount of bottled lard.
Wait, he's got lard in the pantry? Okay. I'm having him chug the lard.
Kyle voraciously grabbed the closest bottle, snapped the neck against the wall, and sucked out all of the fat within a minute.
Wait, I got him do both bottles of lard? Okay.
Kyle wildly sucked down another bottle. He felt very sick.
So he's wearing a suit of armor. He's so far eaten 2 bottles of lard.
Kyle's gonna have clogged arteries.
Where's this other one come from? Keep doing it.
Kyle's vomit and the lard were mixing in a way to make it hard to tell which was which.
Kyle's vomit and the lard were mixing it away at me. To get hard to tell which is which. Finish off the pantry.
As Kyle finished the last bottle of lard, he felt a wave of accomplishment come over him.
I'm not sure how many he ate. So he's wearing a suit of armor, and he so far ate all of the lard in the cabinet. And I gotta have him open the fridge.
Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat.
I gotta have him do it. 8 hours left. I mean the condiments now.
Kyle started to grab condiments from the fridge, squirting them into his mouth with both hands.
Okay.
Ketchup, horseradish, and mayonnaise entered Kyle's mouth at a rate that soon overwhelmed his ability to swallow.
Ketchup, horseradish, and mayonnaise enter Kyle's mouth at a rate that soon overwhelmed his ability to... Okay.
Kyle spewed the excess condiment slurry across the kitchen, covering the furniture and walls.
So far, he's eaten lard and condiments.
Kyle continued until all
Okay.
the condiments had been emptied.
Kyle continued until all condiments have been emptied. Alright, 3 hours left. I'm going to return to the hallway. I don't have got enough time to give him amnesia. I'm going to leave the apartment. I'm going to hit this just to get it over
Kyle
with.
approached his downstairs neighbor's door and knocked.
Okay. Alright, so he's wearing a suit of armor that's too small for him. He's got a small key. He ate lard and condiments. This ain't going to end well.
Kyle hurried to the set.
This is not going to end well.
Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled.
I think he's going to throw up.
"Good evening, Kyle," she said, looking him in the eyes. "I've been looking forward to being here." Kyle responded.
Okay, so I can have him spin and scream and spin in circles and answer politely. I'm going to have him answer politely because technically I haven't messed his head up.
"And I as well, Rachel," answered Kyle, extending his hand in greeting. "You are a most welcome guest." After other mild exchanges of pleasantries, Kyle and Rachel were prompted to take their places for the broadcast.
Come on.
A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened
Come on.
and the cameras clicked on. "Good evening, everyone," said Kyle, looking at the camera. "Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle." Kyle vomited all of the horrible things he'd eaten earlier onto the floor.
I was waiting for that. Kyle vomited all the horrible things he had eaten earlier onto the floor.
Rachel looked at Kyle, concerned, gave a couple coughs, and decided to play it cool and keep the show running. Kyle stopped, then vomited again, then continued with a shaky voice.
Oh, man. He's throwing up a lot.
"Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction." Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. "Hello, Kyle," she said. "I'm glad to be here." "Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss. So we might as well dive right in," said Kyle. "I'm very ready," said Rachel with a winning
He
smile.
doesn't know what to ask. He didn't make any notes.
In a shock, Kyle realized he had never bothered to prepare any notes for the interview. Knowing he had the eyes of millions upon him, Kyle came up with a solution quickly.
He doesn't know what to discuss. Rachel, for lack of notes, right away played it. Okay. What happens if I haven't played Ed?
Kyle slumped in his seat and played dead. "Kyle, what are you up to?" asked Rachel, still smiling. Kyle did not respond and hoped nobody would ask questions. "Kyle, why are you pretending to be dead?" asked Rachel. "I can see you breathing." Kyle held his breath.
He's holding his breath now.
The producer whispered to Rachel over her earpiece.
Give a couple slaps across the face and see if he wakes up.
Rachel got up from her chair, walked to Kyle, and slapped him firmly across the face. Rachel slapped Kyle continuously, trying to get him to stop play acting. Other members of the crew stepped into frame to start slapping Kyle as well.
Oh no!
Soon, Kyle was lost in the amassment of people around him, all slapping his face with both hands. The slapping went on for many hours. Kyle did not wake up. Eventually, Kyle did not need to pretend to be unconscious.
They slapped him to death. Okay. Robert by playing dead. Oh no. Well, that was unexpected. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna exit the bed. Alright. I'm not even going to have him go to the closet.
Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for...
Bugs or gossip? Bugs.
Kyle started to pick between the fuzz of his bedroom carpet, hoping to catch a stray beetle or two. Soon, he had a small handful of various insects, dead and alive.
Save for later. Okay.
Kyle stashed the wriggling mass for later use.
What's this? Ball of bugs. Okay. It ain't going to go there. No way it'll go there. It might go there. That's crazy. This game said go there. Alright. I gotta have
decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
Slick suit.
Kyle miraculously crammed his dumpy body into the suit. The chest pockets were filled with random knickknacks.
Alright. Okay, so he's got a ball of bugs and he's wearing a slick suit. I gotta sit at the desk. Are those for interview? Sure.
Kyle wrote down his first question.
Wait, are you a mother? Am I a mother? Is your mother a mother? Okay.
Kyle wrote down his second question.
Mashed, okay, beef, mashed or blended? Ever eaten a raw egg whole? Yes, I'm doing
Kyle
it.
wrote down his third question.
Do you ever... Okay. What's your funniest story? I'm going with Do You Ever Smile?
Kyle wrote down his last question.
Oh, yes, I want to have him yell, "Are you guilty?" randomly.
Kyle ripped his page of notes out of the notebook and got up from the desk.
Back to desk. All right, back to room. Okay, let's go to the hallway. Okay, so he's got notes. He's got a ball of bugs. I'm going to give him amnesia.
Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside. Kyle decided it would be best to try to force the door open with use of his face. After smashing his features into solid wood for several minutes, Kyle gained severe short-term amnesia.
All right. Go to the kitchen. Open the fridge.
Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat.
All right,
Kyle constructed a breakfast of poached eggs and toast, along with a small fruit cup and grilled sausage.
Wait, if he's got amnesia, how do he know how to cook this stuff? Ask Kyle's famous. Let's not ask questions. Let's just have him eat it.
Kyle ate his breakfast slowly and thoughtfully, enjoying every bite.
Okay. So he's got a ball of bugs. He's wearing a suit. He's got notes. He's got amnesia, and he's eating food.
Kyle wanted to access the pantry, but found it was locked with a small keyhole.
All right. This is going to... I wonder what the game's going to go with here.
Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled.
This is going to get out of hand.
Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Kyle responded.
Forget her name from Amnesia. Okay, we're going with Amnesia.
You. Kyle's ears began to ring from his concussion.
Wait a minute. How to go from amnesia to concussion?
Rachel looked at Kyle, slightly confused, but continued smiling.
Okay.
Before she noticed the glazed look in Kyle's eyes, the producer approached.
Time to get started.
He said, putting a hand on Kyle's shoulder.
Let's get stationed.
Kyle sat in the nearest chair, which was Rachel's. After a moment, Rachel hesitantly sat in the host chair.
So, Kyle is sitting in the guest chair. Rachel sitting in the host chair. Okay.
A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Good morning, everyone, said Kyle. My name is... Kyle made a desperate effort to remember his name or really anything. Kyle looked at Rachel. Do you know who I am? He asked. Rachel looked back, confused.
Okay.
Who are you? Well, if you're not Kyle, I don't know who you are. Rachel smiled sweetly. Kyle made up his mind that he was probably Kyle. Well, he said, I'm Kyle. A long silence followed. Eventually, Rachel spoke again. And I'm Rachel. Hi, everyone. She waved. Hi, Rachel, said Kyle. So why are we here? Rachel was visibly worried.
He's got a ball bug in his pocket.
Weren't you
He
planning
got
on asking me
nose.
any questions?
It's gonna be good.
I don't have any ideas, said Kyle. Kyle kept staring at Rachel. Someone coughed. Kyle looked around and noticed the crew.
Uh-oh.
Who on earth are all of you? He asked. Nobody answered. Kyle got out of his chair and walked off frame, leaving Rachel alone with millions of viewers. Rachel smiled at the camera nervously. Well, she said, let me tell you some knock-knock jokes.
Oh, no.
Eventually, the producer ended the broadcast early due to
No!
technical
Let her do the
issues.
knock-knock jokes. Come on.
Kyle woke up in his bed the next day, remembering nothing about what had happened.
Forgot everything. Okay. 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 He forgot everything. Yeah, have him wither away.
Kyle decided to stay put and wither away. Kyle withered successfully and died.
Wait, he literally died in bed?
Kyle is now a ghost. This does not relieve him of his responsibilities.
Wait, if he died, how's he going to go to the show? Well, if he's dead and he's a ghost, you don't need clothes. Wait a minute, if he's a ghost, that means the locked door is irrelevant, right? Yeah.
Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside.
Well, I was going to go through as a ghost.
Kyle used his ghostly powers to walk straight through the door.
Kyle found himself in the room. He stashed the various items sent to him by fans. So that's where he keeps his stuff. Wait a minute. How does stuff get in there if the door's locked from the inside?
He's a ghost.
Well, that's true. He's a ghost. All right. Check sewing machine. Okay.
Kyle walked over to the dilapidated sewing machine. Its box was only half removed.
How would a sewing machine's box be half removed? Okay.
Kyle walked over to the dilapidated sewing machine. Its box was.
Come on, there's got to be something else with the sewing machine. I'm telling you, game, I'll sit here and spend the whole 20 hours if need be. There's got to be something to the sewing machine.
Kyle walked over to the dilapidated
Come on.
Kyle walked over to the dilapidated. Kyle walked over. Kyle
I'll spend this whole day doing this.
Kyle walked over to the Kyle walked over.
I'm telling you.
Kyle walked over to the
Some kind of financial stash of berry items.
Well, the only option is a sewing machine, so it's got to be something. I mean, you can die and go get to this room and find a sewing machine. This can't be nothing.
Kyle walked over to the dilapidated sewing machine. Its box.
So there's nothing to the sewing machine.
Kyle walked over to the dilapidated sewing machine. Its box was only.
So what's the point of there being a ghost in this room if there's nothing? Wait a minute. He's a ghost.
Yeah.
He's dead. So what's the game going to do about this?
Kyle hurried to the set. Per normal, he ceased to be a ghost before he arrived.
So wait a minute. He died, became a ghost, and because of the show,
He got a sewing machine.
he ceased being a ghost before he arrived to the set. Okay.
Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman
He did
with
nothing.
an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Rachel's smile quickly turned to shock as she realized Kyle had not put on clothes.
So let me get this straight. He has nothing on.
Kyle waved and smiled broadly. Rachel uncomfortably averted her eyes.
He's got nothing on. He's got no note. So let me get straight. He's got nothing on. He's got no notes. He ate nothing. He died. He became a ghost. He came back to life just to go to the show.
Kyle started making his rounds around the room, greeting each crew member, none of whom looked at him directly. As it became apparent that Kyle had no intention of leaving, Rachel made some excuses and exited the set. One by one, the crew followed suit.
So the crew and Rachel's leaving. Kyle, on the set, who died, came back to life to do a show.
Kyle was left all alone.
Okay. Covered by being a ghost. Okay. 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 That was unexpected. Alright. So there's no point to wither away then. So that makes it the bed then. Choose an outfit.
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
I'm gonna have him do the jeans and swimming goggles this time.
Kyle decided on a fashion-forward, casual style. He could barely see out of the goggles.
Adam Scavenge.
Quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for...
Gossip?
Kyle firmly pressed his ear into the carpet, hoping to hear some stray words from the neighbors below. I heard Rachel May is going on a trip out of the country soon. Oh, girlfriend, tell me more! Well, what I will tell you is that every night I don a mask that looks like a bug and fight misdoers.
Okay. So you put... Okay. You're not done mask fight Mr. Okay.
There was a stunned silence. Then a door opened, and someone exited the neighbor's apartment.
Okay. What if I have to scavenge
Kyle
again?
quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for...
Bugs. He needs
Kyle
bugs.
started to pick between the fuzz of his bedroom carpet, hoping to catch a stray beetle or two. Soon, he had a small handful of various insects, dead and alive.
I'm gonna have to save for later.
Mass for later use.
Alright, what happens if we set at desk now? Check my drawer. Sword chain, sure.
Kyle scooped up the change scattered around the desk drawer. Kyle wrote down his first question. Kyle wrote down his second question. Kyle wrote down his third question.
Yeah, what's funny?
Kyle
Okay.
wrote down his last question.
Are you guilty?
Kyle ripped his page of notes out of the notebook and got up from the desk.
I'm giving the game all kinds of crud to work with here. Okay, there. Alright, let's see what the game goes with.
Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. "Good evening, Kyle," she said, looking him in the eyes. "I've been looking forward to being here." Kyle responded.
Okay, I'm gonna answer
"I
politely.
well, Rachel," answered Kyle, extending his hand in greeting.
He's got notes
"You
and
are
gossip.
Most welcome.
Changed
guest."
and bugs. Alright, Kyle, what are you going to do?
After other mild exchanges of pleasantries, Kyle and
Granted, the
Rachel
castle closes
decided to take their
something.
places for the
That's an
broadcast.
interesting icon for it.
A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the
Okay,
cameras
gossip
clicked
about
on.
neighbor. Or start to... Okay, let's see what happens with gossip about
"Good
neighbor.
evening, everybody," said Kyle. "My neighbor is a bug vigilante." With nothing more to say on the matter, he fell silent. Rachel, also on camera, stared at her hands and wondered when she was going to be introduced. The producer started cutting to different camera angles to break the tension. Kyle continued to remain silent and stare forward blankly.
That was it.
After several minutes, neighbor Gabby walked out onto set. "Hi, everyone," she said, smiling hollowly. "My name is Gabby, and I'm not a bug vigilante."
Oh, no.
False. Kyle looked at Gabby
It-
and then returned to staring forwards.
Is Rachel the enemy of the neighbor who's the vigilante?
Gabby began to reply, but was interrupted by a bug-shaped intercom on her belt.
Okay, so let me get this straight. The vigilante walked in set with the communicator on.
Bug girl,
It squawked.
a robbery's in progress on East 3rd. Report immediate.
Gabby threw the intercom on the ground and crushed it under her foot. After a beat, she spoke tightly. "Something has come up suddenly and I must go." Gabby left the set. "Well," said Kyle, "that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for joining us, Rachel."
Kyle got some short shows.
Kyle got up, shook Rachel's hand again, and walked past the cameras, leaving her alone. Not knowing what else to do, the producer ended the broadcast. In the coming days, fans of both Rachel and Kyle dubbed this show as a masterpiece of television.
What?
Stay Up Late with Kyle's online pages were updated to reflect this broadcast as the most popular ever.
Okay.
Kyle's producer later tried to have Rachel on the show again, but she was very, very, very busy.
The guy all talks about Gabby. Okay. I gotta have him do the notes. I'm going to have him do the notes. I We're going to actually have him get
Kyle
ready this
decided
time.
to take some time.
Slick suit.
Kyle
Alright. Sit at desk. Notes.
Kyle wrote down his first question.
Is your mother?
Kyle wrote down his second question.
Have you ever eaten a raw
Kyle
egg?
wrote down his third question.
Do you ever smile?
Kyle wrote down his.
Are you guilty?
Kyle ripped
I wanted to have you use these notes. Take the change, Kyle.
Kyle's.
Alright. I wonder if I can have like a hot dog or something. So there's nowhere to get a hot dog. Wait a minute, you could buy batteries with change? Do it!
Kyle counted out $1.98 in pennies and nickels and traded them for a small packet of batteries.
Hold on a second. He'd paid $1. Okay, he bought $1.98. So he got $1.98 in pennies and nickels, and it took him that long to do it. To buy batteries. Okay. What's free samples?
Kyle asked the store attendant whether or not they offered any free samples to important customers. The attendant gave Kyle a confused and slightly vacant look. Kyle began to beg for a free sample.
So he escalated asking to begging. Okay.
Wanting Kyle to leave, the attendant grabbed a decrepit phone meant for spare parts and held it out.
Wait a minute. He can grab it with his hand or his teeth. I'm having to go there with his teeth.
Kyle firmly clamped his mouth around the outstretched phone, creating several punctures in the screen.
Okay.
Kyle grunted and yanked with his head until the attendant let go of the phone. The phone is now Kyle's to use forever.
So he's got the phone permanently. Does anybody's got it in the next playthrough? What about the batteries? What's the batteries for? I don't have got enough time to figure out this phone thing. Okay, I'll go to the bedroom and sit at the desk. I should check drawer just how we get to the show. I want to see if they got this phone in the next playthrough.
Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity.
What's one of the batteries for?
As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled.
Okay.
"Good evening, Kyle," she said, looking him in the eyes. "I've been looking forward to being here."
He's got a slick suit. He's got notes. He's got... But he spent the change to buy the batteries. So how's he got the change and the batteries? Or does he have less change? I wonder if I have him get the change and then scavenge.
Kyle responded.
I'll make that one the last playthrough, screaming and spinning circles.
"And I as well, Rachel," answered Kyle, extending his hand in greeting. "You are a most welcome guest."
How's this going to play into the ending? Come on.
After other mild exchanges of pleasantries, Kyle and Rachel were prompted to take their places for the broadcast. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. "Good evening, everyone," said Kyle, looking at the camera. "Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle."
Why didn't Kyle obsess over the batteries and the... Why is it labeled working phone when he... Okay, whatever.
Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction. Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. "Hello, Kyle," she said. "I'm glad to be here."
There we go.
In response, Kyle collapsed on the floor.
Why'd he collapse on... Okay, he collapsed on the floor.
From a combination of stressful preparation and not eating anything,
Wait!
passed out.
So if he doesn't eat anything, he'll pass out.
Nobody in the studio quite knew what to do with him. They began to poke Kyle in the back to see if he moved.
I didn't expect it.
After a while, they ended the broadcast, shut off the lights, and went home.
I didn't expect
Kyle
this.
was left face first on the floor.
I didn't expect this. I didn't see that coming. Oh, he's on the phone. Wait, you brought social media? Okay.
Kyle started to scroll through news articles on his phone. Stay Up Late with Kyle ranked number 1 and number 2 show on television.
Let's go rank both number 1 and number 2.
New East Bridge being constructed after being found to not actually exist. Authorities investigating.
Wait, so they're building a bridge that doesn't exist?
Another grand larceny and crime spree streak. Evidence points to perpetrator fleeing the country.
Okay.
Rachel May to unexpectedly leave the country on very, very long vacation after interview tonight.
So she's fleeing the country.
Who is the bug vigilante recently spotted pursuing larcenists? Kyle fails to show up to several charity events. Bug vigilante shows up to charity events with fresh baked pastries. Donations flourish. Hot dogs making resurgence as fuel source for both humans and tugboats.
Wait, hot dogs are being used to fuel tugboats?
Phone model recalled. Techno Gym stores blame overuse by customers.
Wait, is this the phone they gave Kyle? Is the phone models being recalled?
Kyle's phone exploded in his hands from overuse.
Okay. Okay. Do an outfit.
Kyle decided.
Slick suit.
Kyle miraculously cramped.
Back to room. All right,
Kyle
notes.
wrote down his first.
Mother.
Kyle wrote down his second question. Kyle
Okay.
wrote down his third.
Do you ever smile?
Kyle wrote down.
Are you guilty?
Kyle ripped.
Back to desk. Back to room. All right, I want to actually. I hope I got enough time to get him to eat something. Open the fridge.
Kyle opened the fridge, intending.
Prepare
Kyle
breakfast.
constructed a.
Eat.
Kyle ate his breakfast.
Turn to kitchen. All right. Hallway. Okay. Broken phone. Okay, so the phone's broken. So it did actually update the status. He's got on a suit. He's got notes, and he actually ate something. So, how's social
hurried to the
media,
set.
and what's going to play?
Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air.
I guess I was right about the
femininity.
phone actually being that phone.
As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Kyle responded. And I as well, Rachel, answered Kyle, extending his hand. You are a most welcome guest.
Okay.
After other mild exchanges of pleasantries, Kyle and Rachel were prompted to take their places for the broadcast. A moment after seating,
Here
the
we
studio
go.
lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Good evening, everyone, said Kyle, looking at the camera. Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle. Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction. Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. Hello, Kyle, she said. I'm glad to be here. Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss, so we might as well dive right in, said. I'm very ready, said Rachel with a winning smile. Kyle produced the notes he had taken earlier.
Okay. Ever eaten a raw egg whole?
Hey, Rachel, ever eaten a raw egg whole? Asked Kyle. Like shell and all? Asked Rachel.
Yeah.
Kyle continued. I have, like, a lot. It's really bad, though, so sometimes I spit it back up.
Okay. That was unexpected.
There was a silence. It actually gets easier the more you do it, continued Kyle without losing momentum. So don't start, I say.
So don't start. Okay. He does it and he says don't start. Okay.
Rachel chose not to answer and looked in another direction. Kyle asked another question.
Okay.
So, said Kyle, my mother is a mother. My mother's mother is her mother and my mother's mother.
What? I'm confused.
And many mothers have mothers' mother's mother. Is your mother a mother?
What?
Rachel went to answer and stopped. I believe, she said eventually, that I should answer yes? Kyle asked another question.
Okay.
Do you ever smile? Spat Kyle. Like, seriously. Rachel stopped smiling.
So she was smiling, and then he asked her if she ever smiles. Okay.
If you're going to be on the show, you need to smile, okay? Said Kyle, not smiling. You're here to get views, and you'll get more views if you smile. Here, I'll show you how. Kyle turned to the camera and gave the audience a huge, teeth-clenched, bug-eyed grimace.
Okay.
Rachel nodded and obviously wanted to move on. Kyle asked another question.
Here we go. Wait a minute. He brought social media, and I can't use the social media. Okay.
Rachel. Are you guilty? Kyle threw his questions on the floor, stood up, and pointed at her. Rachel's eye twitched slightly. Guilty of what, dear Kyle? She smiled disingenuously. Guilty, spat Kyle. Of your crimes!
What crimes?
Rachel did not answer. Her eyelids both started twitching uncontrollably.
Do it, Kyle. Call the police.
Kyle whipped out his phone and started dialing the police. Kyle quickly realized that the broken phone he had gotten for free was not able to call anyone. Kyle looked sadly at his hand, realizing he had botched a wonderful opportunity to be helpful. Rachel looked at Kyle smiling. Her eyebrows twitched a bit.
Wait. If he's the number one view show, then the police would be logically watching her, right? Okay.
What's the problem, Kyle? Anything I can help you with? She glared, still smiling. Kyle looked up from his hand sadly. He slowly shook his head. The interview continued on. Rachel answered questions cheerily. Kyle forced a smile through the entire episode, but he felt very sad inside.
Okay, if the phone's broken on this one, will it be working in the next one? I gotta...
Kyle had missed his chance to be helpful.
Wasn't helpful. So the phone is broken in this one as well. Okay, I got an idea.
Kyle wrote down his first question.
I gotta just do that, my mother.
Kyle wrote down his second question.
Beef mashed or blended?
Kyle wrote down his third question.
What's your funniest story?
Kyle wrote down his last.
Are you guilty?
Kyle ripped...
Back to desk. Okay. Back to room.
Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find... Kyle ate his breakfast.
All right, so he's eating that. All right, so he still has time. All right, I'm going to have him leave the apartment, visit tech store.
This phone, said Kyle, is several years old and has exposed wires coming out of the back.
Uh-huh.
Kyle continued. Also, the screen has had issues ever since I used it to hammer nails into the wall.
Wait a minute. He used the phone to hammer nails into the wall? Okay.
Furthermore, when I submerge it in water, I get severely shocked until it runs out of battery.
What?
The attendant looked at Kyle, pursed his lips, and said nothing. Feeling he had made his argument, Kyle decided to leave.
All right, what happened if I visit downstairs neighbors?
Kyle approached his downstairs neighbor's door and knocked. A middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door. Good morning, neighbor, said Kyle cheerfully. Gabby looked at Kyle expectantly. Gabby, Kyle asked, what are your true thoughts about Rachel May? Oh, Rachel? Gabby said. She's a wonderful woman. Her generous acts have inspired more good work than bad. Gabby trailed off, not meeting Kyle's eyes. After several uncomfortable minutes of silence, Kyle turned around and left. Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up. Rachel's smile quickly turned to shock as she realized Kyle had not put on clothes.
I forgot about clothes.
Kyle waved and smiled broadly. Rachel uncomfortably averted her eyes. Kyle
Oh, that
started
for
making
nothing.
his rounds around the room, greeting each crew member, none of whom looked at him directly. As it became apparent that Kyle had no intention of leaving, Rachel made some excuses and exited the set. One by one, the crew followed. Kyle was left all alone.
Okay. Well, that's an hour worth of Kyle is Famous, and yeah. That is hilarious. Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.